This song starts with an 8-bar introduction. I'm going to count you in. We're going to listen to it together, and I'll count you in and I'll show you exactly where to start so that when you are singing this by yourself, you'll know exactly how to count in and when to start that first line. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 1. When the rain is blowing. One of the reasons why I like to teach this song, especially for beginner students, is because it is challenging because there's a couple of notes that do go into that female first bridge or the male first bridge, depending on what key you're singing it in, which is the area in the voice where most problems, not all, but often habits that aren't helpful start to kick in. Yet the notes are not so high that you would risk completely falling out of balance or yelling through the whole song. And I also really like how there are many opportunities to link words together. When you know how to find the links between words in a song, it makes your singing sound a lot more fluid. And when you find that sense of flow in your singing, you are less likely to grip or to feel like you need to push with the voice. Adele has incredible presence when she sings, but I think that sometimes students feel like that presence means you have to be loud or you have to really push the vocals in order to get the same level of presence. I just want you to bear in mind that presence has nothing to do with how loud you are. So when you are singing this song, don't feel like you need to be loud with it or aggressive with it. Try to find a natural talking sound quality or dynamics in your voice when you are singing the song, especially when you are starting. I would break this phrase into 2 chunks. When the rain is one chunk, blowing in your face. That's another chunk. We're not going when the rain, so we're not singing it as 3 very distinct sounds. We're melding them together, but in a way that's still very clear. When the rain is blowing, da da da. There's 2 notes there. Blowing. I would get rid of the letter G of blowing, and I would use the N of that word, and I would attach it to the word in, like this. Blowing in. So I'm literally saying nin. And then I would take the N of the word in and kind of link it or attach it to the word your. When the rain is blowing in your face. You see, I'm not making it super obvious that I'm linking the ends, but when I know that I'm doing that as a singer, it actually helps me to create a through line in the phrase. And this is what I mean by creating or finding those links between words to help you find the rhythm and the flow of the song. And the whole world is on your case. The word world has a voice bump. I call it a voice bump. It's kind of like somebody has knocked into you a little bit there, but it is actually 2 notes. World, da, da, da. It's a very subtle little embellishment, but it's really nice as a stylistic tool. Is on. I would link the S of the word is. I would attach that to the word on to keep that flow going. Is on your case. For the 3rd line here, Adele does use a bit of that vocal fry sound to kickstart the word I could offer you a warm embrace. Popping in some vocal fry sounds here and there sparingly is a really great way to stylize a song and just change things up a little bit. I really like how Adele just very naturally warms up her vowels. And this is a good example of that. It's funny that I'm saying the word warm and I'm actually looking at the word warm. That was totally by accident. I could offer you a warm embrace. So she's saying warm. And so she's creating that nice O sound. Yes, of course, it could be because of her accent as well. But whatever accent you have, give this a try. Instead of thinking of the word warm, try to play around with the vowel shape and see what sounds you can create just by changing how you are pronouncing certain vowels. For the last line here, let's also play around with this grouping thing. Let's group the first 2 words together. to make, and then you feel, one group, and then my love is one group, to make you feel my love. So even though I'm singing it as one phrase, but I'm treating them as three chunks of sound, because then within a chunk of sound, I can insert little flourishes or embellishments here and there, like this. To make. So I'm adding a little bit of that vocal fry between the word to and make, because I'm linking them together. It allows me to do that. To make you feel my love. Or I could even stick in a little bit of that vocal fry between my and love as well. You see, once you start to dive into this and you start to look at songs in terms of just creating different sounds and playing around with different color tones, you'll realize that there's so many different ways to sing one song. Now that we've learned the first verse, let's sing with Adele. Hey, it's Crystal Diaz here. If you are enjoying this tutorial, then be sure to hit like, subscribe to the channel, or better yet, post a comment. I would love to hear from you. I spend a lot of time putting these tutorials together and I really enjoy doing them, but I want to make sure that it's useful to you. So if you do find these tutorials helpful, let me know, post a comment. Like I said, I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you are ready to take that next step to start working with me personally, and you want to join our growing community of vocal students from around the world, then you will love my Singers Connect membership program. As a member, you get access to my brand new signature course, which is called the Vocal Alignment System, which teaches you how to use your voice the way nature intended you to use it, so that you can use your voice with greater power, with greater confidence, and be able to express yourself the way you want to. Also, you get access to my entire library of vocal exercises, including exercises that I've created specifically for the songs in my library. For example, I have a set of vocal exercises that I've created for this very song that you are learning to sing right now, which means not only will you be able to learn the techniques through the practicing of the exercises, but you're also going to learn how to apply those specific techniques to the songs that you love to sing. So if you think this tutorial has been helpful to make this song easier for you to sing, then wait until you practice it together with the vocal exercises that I've created to go along with this tutorial. It's going to take your singing to a whole new level. Plus, as a member, you get to join me for my live coaching sessions, which I run multiple times throughout the month, which means you get to work directly with me. And I will be sending you weekly coaching emails, so you will always know what to practice, what to work on, so that you can keep getting better and better at singing. You can keep getting better and better at using your voice creatively, expressively, and confidently. So if you want to join, check out all the details by going to alignyourvoice.com or click the link in the description box where you are watching this video. 5, 6, 7, 8.
When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love.
The phrasing here in the first line and the second verse is a little bit different. When the evening shadows and the stars appear. So if we look at it in terms of the context of the whole phrase, shadows is really highlighted, as well as the word stars. Shadows and the stars. Really lovely way to tell a story. And there is no one there to dry your tears. The word tears has kind of like two notes. Tears, and she scoops the second note of the word tears. To dry yours, she almost slurs it. What that does is it creates more of that conversational feel. So the word dry and your are almost smooshed together. Dry your tears. For the next line, there's a bit of that vocal fry starting with the word I again. I could hold you. I would emphasize the word O here. Again, this is a nice way to warm up the vowels. So kind of like we did with the word warm earlier. Warm. Here it's I could hold you for a million years. Another good reason for doing that is when you play with the vowels in this way, you'll notice that you can direct your sound almost more in towards the microphone. I could hold you and then you can play with that sound a little bit differently than if you didn't emphasize that O vowel. Last line, similar grouping style. We're going to put the word to and make together as if they were one word. So we're saying to make you feel. And then here there is a 3-note embellishment on the word my, to make you feel my 3 notes, love. I forgot to mention for the second verse here, we are starting the word when, we're starting that first line also after the 1 of the bar. So this is what I mean. To make you feel my love, 2, 3, 4, 1. When the evening, straight after that 1. So that's how we come in. All right, now that we know that, let's go ahead and sing with Adele.
To make you feel my love,
2, 3, 4, 1.
when the evening shadows and the stars appear, and there is no one there to dry your tears, I could hold you for a million years, to make you feel my love.
This next section of the song is where the notes start to get a little bit higher. The first note is actually a B flat 4, which is right smack dab in the middle of the first bridge in a typical female range. I encourage all singers, whatever level you are at, to just get to know where your vocal bridges are, because the more you are able to know where they are in your register, the more you're going to be able to learn how to navigate through specific sections of the voice. You're going to be able to look at a piano and be able to say, oh, that's my first bridge. So that's why I'm having problems in those notes in that song that I love to sing, right? Then you actually have something tangible to work through, to work on. So now that we know where the notes are, how do we navigate this if you are having troubles? Well, first step is always sing in a way that feels released. And what I mean by that is you don't want to be muscling or pushing your way through the bridge, because it could lead to a lot of bad habits down the line. And also it could really hurt your voice. You want to sing it in a way that's not loud. So try to watch your volume, just be aware. And also you want to create some physical space. You want to create some space as you are singing that. And what that really means is you want to play around with the vowels. So instead of thinking, oh no, you see how that sounds a bit clamped, like I'm squeezing? You want to go in the opposite direction, which is released. So you can try, no. Even add a little bit of an H can help to soften up the sound a little bit, but definitely open your mouth out. No, you haven't, and really find those spaces in the vowels for this entire phrase. For the words made your mind up, there are actually little couplets or 2 notes that she is singing very quickly. Made your, 2 notes in the word made, 2 notes in the word your. Made your mind up yet. For this line here, you can scoop up or glide up for that word but I, and then open up for the word but I would never do you wrong. I call this just accenting or leaning through the phrase, but I would never do. So I'm leaning or accenting on never do you wrong. It creates a nice sense of rhythm, and it's a great tool if you want to highlight certain words or certain notes in a phrase. For the next line, same note as the first line here is that B flat. And so you want to create that nice vowel space as well. I would almost not sing the VE so obviously, because that will tend to make you close up the vowel space. So I would almost do it with an A sound, like I've known. And you can actually add a slight H to it as well to help soften up the sound. I've known it from. Same thing with the word moment is 2 notes, 2 notes. Moment. Da 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 da, moment that we met. The word we here, it slides up on the E vowel of the word we. We met. This might be tricky for some singers because it's sliding through the bridge of the voice. So you might want to practice this out a little bit. Just take that vowel, do that a few times to become more familiar with the movement of that sound. Then you can string it all together. I've known it from the moment that we met, no doubt. You can add a vocal fry there if you want to. My mind. You can add another one there if you want to as well in the letter M of my mind. and then where you, like you're almost flicking that up, that letter, that word you, where you belong. It's very, I would say more pop contemporary style. And same as before, in this section here, we are starting, I know you haven't, we're starting right on, right after the one of that bar. So I'm going to count you in so you can feel that out as well.
To make you feel my love.
2, 3, 4, 1.
I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I will never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met. No doubt in my mind where you belong.
You can add a vocal fry on the first word, the I of I'd go hungry. And she has 2 notes on the word on the second go. I'd go hungry, I'd go. So she extends that O vowel into 2 notes. Go black. Here for the word crawling, there's that bluesy flatted note variation here. So instead of singing, I'd go crawling, she goes, I'd go crawling, crawling. You can think of it as a bend. I'd go crawling down the avenue. Here, the main part that I want to highlight for this line here is that bounce. I call it the bouncy voice effect or accenting as well. No, there's nothing that I would. There's like this bouncy sound in the voice, right? No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do. It brings a different kind of energy to the song, to the phrase. These little tools that I'm showing you are so powerful, especially if you are singing a song that seems simple, right? Songs that seem simple are actually very challenging. You want to keep the simplicity of the song, but you also don't want it to come across as boring. So these little tools that I'm showing you, they are great ways to very subtly stylize a simple song while still keeping it simple, not overdoing it, but just giving the audience a little something extra to listen to. No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do. So the word wouldn't, she also extends out on an oo vowel. She does it very obviously. That I wouldn't do. I kind of like that because it warms up the tone a little bit too when you create that nice wouldn't do, that nice elongated shape with the vocal tract. The last line here in this section is the same as the first time you sang it. The only thing that I would encourage you to try is to see what happens if you emphasize the M's, the M consonants here. To make you feel my love. Do you hear how I'm deliberately singing into those M's? And I do that because when you, especially if you are recording yourself, you will hear the vibrations of the M sound when you are singing the line that way, and it can really draw your listeners' attention and kind of bring them into your world a little bit too. So play around with that. All right, now that we know this section, let's sing it with Adele.
No doubt in my mind where you belong. I'd go hungry, I go black and blue. I go crawling down the avenue. No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love.
Now there is an instrumental break here. It's 8 bars. It's the same length of time as the introduction, and then it pops right into the B flat 4, which is the storms are raging on the rolling sea. Now for this line, the word the storms is actually a little bit trickier. It's actually harder to sing this section than it is to sing the first section, in my opinion. A lot of students do feel that when they get to the section of the song, they'll say, how come these notes are the same as the previous one that we did before the instrumental, but it's so much harder? It's because the words are different, the vowels are different. Because if you look at the words, the storms, these words don't naturally make you want to open your mouth out a lot, right? It's just the storms. Whereas the word I I know you haven't. You're more likely to want to open your mouth out for words like that. So in this case here, we almost have to make up some vowels, or what I call fabricating a vowel. Instead of saying the storms, I'm really going to say the. But if you look at the word the, there is not naturally going to be a the storms. But we're going to sing it that way, because when we sing it that way, you will notice that the notes are much easier to hit. You look at the word storms, there's an R in there, and R and M together, that's going to want to make you close up your space, right? So again, we want to try to keep it as open as possible, especially when we're singing notes that are tricky, which is like this B flat, which is smack dab in the middle of the first bridge for the female register. The storms are raging, and the word raging, there's so many R's here, right? That's why it makes this line hard. The storms are, you want to use the S of the word storms, link it to the word R, and we're going to get rid of that R as much as possible. We're going to say storms are. And then raging, we're going to try to emphasize or linger on that A vowel of raging. The storms are raging. So, by the way, all of these notes are the same note, right? Which makes it doubly hard, or triply or quadruply difficult, because we have to stay in the same part of the range, which is already tricky, which is that B flat note. And we have to manipulate and try to create vowels that aren't naturally there, right? We have to do that very, very fluidly. This is why this line is hard. The storms are raging on the rolling sea. On and the has two notes. Linger on the O vowel of the word rollin as well. So again, we can try to avoid too much of those L sounds. So we keep that space nice and open, and also we're warming it up because we're emphasizing that O space in the word rollin. And on the highway of regret, there are two subtle accent points here. She's accenting the word the high of highway and of regret. So you can play around with that. And on the highway of regret, the winds of change, also words that are not very naturally open in terms of vowels. So one exercise you could work on is like a wee sound. Wee. When you're comfortable, when you find a nice comfortable way of creating that sound, then you can change it to the word winds, like this. Wee winds, and go back and forth. So that what you're doing is you're bridging that gap between using a tool, using a vowel exercise or a vocal exercise as a tool, and then bringing the ease and balance that you find with that tool, and you're bringing it into the lyrics of a song. Don't feel like you have to rush through and master the entire phrase in one go. Often it's just fine-tuning one or two words or one or two vowels, and then we find our path has opened up to the rest of the phrase as well. The word change is tricky because of that ng, that ange sound of the word change. So try to linger on that A vowel a little bit more. The winds of change are blowing, and go straight into that ah vowel of the word R. Blowing wild. Two notes. We're going to link the D of wild to the word and. Wild and free. That helps you to create a bouncing off point so that you can move to a slightly higher note very quickly without getting stuck. You ain't, so a kind of a glide, and we're using that glide to connect the word you and ain't together. You ain't seen nothing like. There's a two note glide on the word like me, and then we're going to connect the me and yet together. So now let's sing it with Adele. I'm going to take you from the end of the just before the instrumental, and I'm going to count you through the instrumental, and the same thing as before, we're coming in right after the one of that starting bar.
You're my love.
1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. 5, 2, 3, 4. 6, 2, 3, 4. 7, 2, 3, 4. 8, 2, 3, 4. 1.
The storms are raging on
the word I could make you happy, the word I actually starts on the beat this time. So in the previous verses, we're typically starting after the one, right after the one. In this case, we're starting on the one. You ain't seen nothing like me yet. 2, 3, 4. I could. So instead of going 2, 3, 4, 1, I could make. That's gonna take you off beat, actually, if you sing after the one. This line is pretty straightforward. Only a couple things that I would highlight is the I. She starts with that vocal fry effect. I could make, and she does emphasize the M here, make you happy, which is kind of nice. Again, similarly as before, it creates that nice flow. And she bounces that word your in using 2 notes. Yo, so it creates that bouncy voice effect. Next line, nothing that I wouldn't do, she lingers on the word I a little bit and almost trails off, but she doesn't. She comes right back in. But she also comes back in using a nice vowel of that, emphasizing that ooh sound of the word wouldn't. Nothing that I wouldn't do, wouldn't. She really sings wouldn't. And it sounds funny when we speak it that way, right? Because we're not going to say wouldn't, I wouldn't do that. But when we sing it that way, it really warms up the tone. You can hear how that just makes the sound seem more full, and almost deepens the sound a little bit too. Go to the ends of the earth for you. It's not breathy, but it's quiet, but it sounds like she's speaking right into your ear. So this is a great opportunity to come right up close to the microphone, whether you are recording or you are singing on stage, because the music is going to be pretty quiet by this time in the song. And so every little nuance of the voice is highlighted. And so this is a beautiful demonstration of how you can be very powerful and captivating without being loud and showy. To make you feel my love. I would recommend you linger in on those M's a little bit more. That will really help to emphasize that sense of closeness. To make you feel my love. 2, 3, 4, 1. To make you feel my love. There is a little bit of a retard, a little bit of a slow down there in that last line. We've done it. Now let's sing that last section with Adele.
You ain't seen nothing like me yet.
2, 3, 4.
I could make you happy, make your dreams come true. Nothing that I wouldn't do. Go to the ends of the earth for you, to make you feel my love, to make you feel my love.
You did it! You can now sing the entire song. I cannot wait to hear your versions of this song soon. I hope you enjoyed this one. Keep singing, keep practicing, and sharing your voice with the world.